Hey there, friendlies. How's up? Welcome to the 11th of August episode of the Beer Blaze and Bushcraft livestream. I'm your host, Jess Corbet. Hey, salut Simon, comment va ce soir? Hi, Tyler. And I am doing great myself. I'm just going to mute my other screens so that nothing gets between us and the magic. Okay, there we go. So, how's it going, everyone? I got blades, of course. There's one. I got beer. We're going to talk bushcraft. And it's funny because I'm not really sure where to go tonight. I spent so much time planning the interviews and panel discussions lately that I've sort of dropped the ball on the normal episodes a little bit. Hey, Tenenbaum, yeah, very much the usual suspects. Tyler will be AFK for a few, whatever AFK means, away from the keyboard. That's got to be it. Hey, Brandon, how's it going? You sharpened your blades last night. What do you have, Brandon? I don't think I've asked you that before. Hey, Grace. Hey, Foxit. How's it going? So, like, Brandon, how many blades did you sharpen last night? And you have anything? You have anything that would make me weak in the news? Let me see if I can pop out the chat from the YouTube page. I do know that there is a way to pop out the chat. Boom, baby, because that way I don't have to have the YouTube page open. All right, there we go. Hey, Dauber. Driving home from Allentown. Okay, so you got me on audio, but you're not going to be for land's sakes outdoor. Don't be typing or anything like that. Yeah, it's all friends here tonight. That's good. I'm still waiting for Brandon to let me know what blades he sharpened up last night. Jackie, out stargazing with your girl, so you'll be checking out soon. I'll rewatch tomorrow. Yeah, I would be stargazing myself if I wasn't doing this. Actually, I don't know if excuse me. I don't know if it's clear out. We were getting pretty heavily hammered with the rainstormage not so long ago. So I don't know. Hey, Mark. Jackie's waiting for the. Oh yeah, I see. You're waiting for the goods. Hey, Wanders, how's it going? Brandon, okay, what he was sharpening last night was just 2 Grants for his Brook small forest stacks and a Mora Garberg. I have both of those, and I back you on both of those. Those are both very nice choices. My small forest stacks, excuse me, is definitely my go-to axe. It's funny because this season I was supposed to be leaving that one home on purpose and taking this one out to see the difference of an axe like this as my pack axe, but nothing's been happening in my life lately except for the COVIDs. I'm just making sure I'm not missing. Hey, Austin's Corner is already here. Fox is watering plants. Was 97 degrees Fahrenheit here, and we just cut down one of our trees, so we've lost quite a bit of yard shade. We lost a tree in the front a couple of years ago, and they finally replanted one just last fall. They took out one of those horrible Norway maples, and they put in a sycamore. But it's a very small tree, so we're not going to get the shade effect in the summer and the windbreak effect in the winter for a bunch of years to come. It's kind of too bad, but the tree that was there was dangerous. I don't know. Should I open this? What I'm having tonight is the Tank House Organic Ale from Mill Street Brewery, which I believe is actually in Toronto, Ontario. Gotta love the light flare on the can. Sorry about that, guys. 5.2% alcohol by volume, and it's 473 mils. What was I going to say? Did you guys see that? Okay. That was a lot of beer all over my desk and my shorts. Now my desk is gonna reek for days. Oh, my keyboard, Tabernouche. For those of you who are wondering, Tabernouche is a very, very light version of the worst swear word in Quebec, French. I had a grandfather who wasn't allowed to say tabarnak because, my Scottish grandmother knew what the hell that word meant. But strangely, she would let him get away with saying taber. English accent. All right, now I'm going to pour this, and it's probably going to head all to hell, but makes me feel closer to you guys that you guys see me blow the beer like practically every week in some way or another. The head's not that bad. I'm doing okay. If Serge was here, it'd be overflowing all over again, right? Serge got out for an overnighter fairly recently with his brother, which makes me happy. It's nice to see someone's getting some... oh, God. I think I may shower after this, guys. Yuck. All right. It's okay. It's not embarrassing. We're all friends here. Simon says that was an epic one. Okay, let me just sort of catch up. Yeah, we had a heat warning today. It was like 30 something, felt like 43. That's degrees Canadian, not degrees freedom. I think it was like 41 is 100 or something. I don't quite know. So, of course, today we decided to do a lot of gardening, like hauling out a lot of plants and packing like 7 of those big brown garden waste bags into the car and taking it off to the eco center to get rid of them all. Because we're just silly that way in my family, I guess. But hey, it's done. It's done, which means tomorrow maybe we're thinking we might do a little hike tomorrow. If we do, I'm gonna bring the videoing possibilities with me. Do it open and chug. Yeah, that's what I should have done. Pop down it. Did everyone send a care package of Scott towels to Simon Forget? He's been crying a bunch since returning from the forest. And Simon, I was going to ask you about that. You know what? Here, let's do this. I'll do what I did last time. If anyone wants to come on and tell me about like a trip that they took or something, share some outdoorsy stuff. That's not specifically what this episode is going to be about, but if anyone wants to talk about some outdoorsy stoof. Hey, Mallory's here. How's it going? Simo's telling Mallory about the gusher I just had. That was a waste of beer. I've had this one before, so I'm breaking the motif a bit here. For those of you who haven't been hanging with me for months and months, the plan has always been to open a microbrew that I've never tasted before with you guys, but I've had this one. I didn't have time to go and buy anything special for tonight's episode. Yeah, okay. Mallory just sort of got in right after that. But yeah, so Serge hit the woods fairly recently with that tent that Tenenbaum gave me to pass to him on that snowy night in Ottawa. So it was really nice to see him get out. I think most of you know that he's going through a divorce, so it was nice to see him have a good day, and Simon, he's just back from the woods, which is good to know about. I haven't had time to ask you much about it, Simon. So if you do want to come on and talk about it a bit. Ooh. There we go. I just tried to add you to the stream. Boom. Simon, salut. Comment va? I think he's got that wicked lag going again, guys.
I'm fine.
Yeah, he's having
you.
Mallory, yeah. We've had a bunch of family members have to get tested recently. So far, everyone's coming back negative as well. I'm not sure how we're going to handle school, man, to be honest with you, and daycare. Hey, Hike with Mike is here. Hike with Mike, I saw that video of yours where you went on that. Was it just like a one little overnighter with a friend or two? With Swamp, I can't remember the name of that guy because he's not someone I watch a lot. But yeah, that was a cool video. I like your videos, man. They're sort of, it's like a moment of zen. You and was it Kenneth Cram? What's his name? Cram? Is he Kenneth? You know, down in Texas. His videos are very, very sort of calming. I think Simo's having some tech difficulties. There you go. How's it going?
Better.
There we go. There we go. Nice. I'm just checking Mallory because Mallory's got kids. Oops. All right, Austin. Sorry, I didn't mean to pop that up on screen, Austin. That's all right, Austin. Yeah, Mallory. I don't know what's going to happen. For those of you who don't know, the Quebec government released their plan for the return to school. Kind of the opposite of what British Columbia is doing. I don't know. I think BC is doing it better, but
there's only
what
one
lawyers
way
are
to,
for,
to
right?
know what will happen with this. So there's no good or bad answer.
Yeah. All right, Austin. Sounds good. So yeah, come on. You went to the woods, man.
I went to the woods. I went to the Mastigouche Wildlife Preserve.
While you're talking, I'll see if I can bring up a map or something.
Yep. So it is a state, province-run, let's say, forest area where you can fish, you can hunt, you can do campings and stuff. So we went there for about 5 days.
It's really pretty there.
It was like a state in our small chat group. I was a bit astonished by the situation.
What do you mean?
Well, we didn't had anything higher than 26 Celsius in temperature.
Okay.
No rain. Almost no bugs.
Actually, that sounds beautiful.
It's almost an after-death experience. You're
Okay.
just not sure that you're there and what's going on. We had no rain except on our way in and our way out, but literally no rain at all. It was beautiful.
It's pretty far. I mean, it's not that far, but you're near Shawinigan, right? So how long is that drive?
It is 200 kilometers.
Okay.
But rather than 2 hours, let's say 3 hours.
Okay.
Roads are practical. Well, you can drive any cars there.
But you take a main highway to like Trois-Rivières or Shawinigan? No, to Shawinigan, and then you no.
Yeah, we were close. Well, actually, the Réserve Mastigouche is between Saint-Michel-des-Saints and Shawinigan.
Okay.
And we went through
the
village before Saint-Michel-des-Saints, which is Saint-Zenon. It was due to the location of our campground. Well, our camp. It was the closest spot that we can get through.
So what kind of activities and stuff are we talking about there? Like canoeing?
Camping? With a few friends, my wife and 3 friends, we rent a small building, a small shack.
Okay.
A chalet, mainly. They're solar powered. for fridge and for the lights.
Nice.
Other than that, there's no electricity.
Okay.
There's potable water for all of these buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, everything is on propane because it's the most bang for the buck. If you're speaking of cooking or heating water.
Yep.
Everything is included, except that yourself, what you're gonna eat and drink, and whatever you want to do. There's canoe, there's some rowboats, paddle boats, kayaks. Fishing rights are a bit expensive if you're not getting their plan, if I can put it that way.
Yep.
Other than that, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, sounds nice. I saw that you shared some pictures over Signal, right?
Yep.
Yeah, looks really nice.
So if you want to retrieve them and show them, I'm fine with this.
If I can get Signal to work, hold on, let me.
I'm sure you will.
Signal. Stop sharing the screen. We're just waiting for it to. There we goes.
That lamp is bugging me.
Oh, I can't because for your security, conversation history isn't transferred to new linked devices, and I had to relink this computer today or yesterday. Remember?
Okay. I'm gonna do it.
All right. So who else we got? Grace Martin, you do wilderness. Oh, Grace Martin, you do wilderness photography. We'll ask that Simon guy to share a link if he ever stops yapping. Yeah, Simon's not the only mod we have on tonight. In fact, we got a couple of new ones. Do any of my mods know Grace Martin's Instagram? Do I know Grace's Instagram? I think I do. No, it's going to make me log in. Forget about it. Someone else do it.
I'm not really on Instagram, so for that matter, I'm not going to repost that one. So if another mod can do it, I would really appreciate it.
Mallory is asking if there's anyone from Iowa in the chat. I have no idea why, but Mallory is going to go and get the Instagrammage. And Mark is telling you, Simon, to tell us all about the canoeing and kayaking.
I learned one thing about kayaks. First of all, I'm fat, overweight, and out of shape.
Kayaks are not forgiving on any of those. I have the same problem with kayaking.
Yeah. So definitely, I need to lose some weight and get in better shape if I want to do kayaks again. Because yeah. Other than that, I took a paddle and make a few strokes in a canoe. That was fine.
Mallory has just posted in the side chat the link to Grace's Instagram. Oh, that's why you wanted to know about if anyone is here from Iowa.
Iowa with a hurricane?
Oh no.
What do you mean?
Grace.
A tornado, maybe.
Tyler lost his house.
What? Okay.
Is he okay physically? Was anyone injured? Anyone in his family? Oh, Hike with Mike is asking the same question.
Wow.
Okay. Okay, Mallory just said that his family is okay. He lost his house. Holy crap. Because 2020 hasn't done enough?
Nope.
A volcano just erupted in Indonesia, I think, by the way, today. So this year is not done with us.
I think so too.
Mallory, did they recently move into that house, or am I remembering? Am I mixing him up with someone else? And while we're at it, what's the latest on Dave Canterbury? Because he lost his house to a fire a few months back.
Yeah, he's rebuilding it right
He's
now.
rebuilding. Okay.
Yeah. I believe he was insured for, which looks to be a bit weird for what I understand in US.
Wow.
Um,
Man, I wish Tyler was on here. I would invite him actually on screen to talk about it and let us all know how it's going and stuff.
I'm trying to pull out some information up regarding that derecho
Okay.
because I'm still a mod.
Of course.
And yeah, that's the kind of thing that I'm doing usually rather than speaking of my.
I was looking for it as well, but I'll just keep talking to peeps while you do that.
Yep. And Chicago was hit, by the way.
Chicago?
Yep.
Same storm?
Looks to be. 99 miles per hour winds.
So what's that in modern speak? Is that like almost
160 kilometers an hour. Yep.
Wow. Wow. Okay. This is not good. This is not what I wanted to talk about tonight, but this seems a lot more important somehow.
Yeah, I'm posting a link right now.
Okay.
Because
Tenenbaum says there was an earthquake in North Carolina too. Now, what I was going to say is I read somewhere that hurricane season is expected to be a whole lot bigger than usual this year. Like they're thinking like easily twice as many hurricanes as they usually expect. Which so there's that. That's
Tenenbaum, thanks for the link. The
yeah,
URL, by the way.
A million without power. That's in Chicago?
Yeah.
And Chicago had to close the bridges due to the crazy violence of the 5.1 quake in North Carolina. Wow, this is apocalyptic. Well, drink up, guys.
Wind gas. The retro moved from southeastern South Dakota into Ohio.
Yeah, Grace Martin just said 770-mile tract. So
Jeez.
in kilometers, that's really freaking long.
It's one.
It's like
1 times 1.6. So
times 1.6. Yeah.
1,200.
Wow.
Roughly.
Yeah. Yeah. Mallory, are you in touch with Tyler outside of his live streams?
Yikes.
I'm looking at the news on this. I'm thinking, holy crap, guys.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's not houses, but literally cornfields are flattened.
Yeah. Because we need more of a food shortage, right?
Yeah, of course. And grain elevators are smashed, and geez.
1,200 kilometers, Mark Putman says. Well, and there's the thing, right? You knock out a grain elevator, it's you got to rebuild that, and they're not necessarily cheap.
And it's like ASAP.
Yeah.
Well, depends if there's some crops remaining after that, but that's another story.
Yeah. Yeah, Mallory, just see if he wants to come in and come on screen and tell us about his issues, his home, and see if he wants to talk. So tell him that we're talking about him right now, and we're wishing him the best. Wow. Here's the thing, I'm usually kind of a news hound. Like I'm always up on what's happening, but it's like since March, I've been so busy, like bunkering and waiting for the next piece of news from the medical establishment about what I'm supposed to be doing, and just trying to bury my head from everything else that like I don't know half of what's going on out there, and that's a different thing for me. I'm not usually like that. So this is like all these disasters. Holy crap.
I'm wondering how long will be the bye-bye this year?
It's going to be a week-long miniseries.
Maybe we should explain what is the bye-bye, but yeah.
Yeah. For those of you who don't live in Quebec, so like most of you, every year at what the hell's it called in English? New Year's Eve, like
Yep.
right after the switch over to the new year. No, it's not right after.
It is right before.
Right before, yeah. It's whatever that other thing is right after. There's this show called, Bye Bye 2020 or Bye Bye 2019, or obviously it's Bye Bye 2020 because it's a French show. And what they do is they essentially take the piss out of everything that happened that year, right? That's Simon. That's essentially it, right?
And a big retrospective in comedy,
yeah,
and trying to laugh about it rather than being.
Yeah, and generally it's a fun show. They've had some major missteps in the past, but generally it's
But it is like running for 50 years.
I don't know how long, but it's been.
It is.
I don't remember a time without it. That's for true.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mallory. Mallory says she just messaged him.
Yep.
He hasn't been online for the past 7 hours, so it's a long shot. I imagine that he might be dealing with bigger things than being online. I'm sure. But oh, Brother Love, hi. Hold on. Times are changing. I grew up hearing that I was totally safe because no tornadoes can ever reach us here. We've been preparing for tornadoes for a few years now. Just had to watch this afternoon. It's the same in some ways. Like my mother-in-law, I told you guys, she lives on Lac de Montagne, so Lake of Two Mountains. And she had they had one of those once in a century storms, and it flooded the crap out of her entire neighborhood. She's 10 feet above the lake when it's at its sort of low tide. Like it sort of goes up and down a little bit.
Yeah, but
flooded all the way out.
They're in the big tide there, so anyway. So
yeah, so it was like, okay, well, we've had a once in a century storm. Then they all got flooded again the next year, right? And they said there's no such thing as a one in a century storm anymore. They said build up your land, get pumps, get a supply of whatever, and be prepared because this is what life is like right now. So Brother Love, I completely understand where you're coming from. It's like the world has changed. And it's funny because I was thinking about this because I think about crap like this, and I'm no fun at parties, guys, but here we go. The people who live through massive, massive world-changing events don't notice the changes very much, okay? Like people who went through the plague in 1917, 1918, the world changed significantly after that, but it's only with like a century of hindsight or even 50 years of hindsight that you really pick up on the world changed. The same thing, the plague, the Black Plague that killed essentially half of Europe. That was a massive societal change after that, because what you had after that was there weren't enough people to work the fields or make shoes or all the things that used to be very, very low paid. And
I'm even not sure if one of these plague pandemics back then was not combined with also sun activity reduction or volcano eruption somewhere.
Something like that. Maybe but what happened after the Black Plague was suddenly workers could command more money. And they did, and so the standard of living went up. The nobles in England, at least, they tried to get laws passed to sort of tamp that back down. But the fact is, that plague changed European society. The First World War changed things because you had all the men gone, so all the women were in the factories. The Second World War did the same thing, essentially. Are you going to tell women that they can't work after they've kept your war machine rolling? No. I mean, to a certain
they did it
extent,
after
yes,
the
but
First War, the First World War.
So it's like, but the people who are living in it don't necessarily notice that the world is changing. And I think that's partly what's going on right now with like some people are like, oh my God, global warming is killing everyone. And other people are like, what are you talking about? It's because when you're living through something that changes the game, you don't always notice it until much later, Yeah, Mallory, we had a wicked storm here earlier, so that doesn't surprise me at all. I hope to hell you don't get taken out by a tornado or something. Bro, brother lives in Alberta. I keep forgetting that. When I was living in Manitoba, we had a tornado go through. Well, actually, it's funny because it was coming for St. Boniface where I was living, but it moved, or it missed St. Boniface, missed Winnipeg, and really ripped the crap out of some small town further down the road. Which worked for us, let me tell you.
I do remember that we had a few tornadoes over the last decades, let's say.
Well, we had a microburst that knocked down half the trees in Montreal a couple of years ago, and wrecked some cars and stuff.
Yeah, microbursts were more common.
Okay, bye, Mallory.
Even a couple F1 tornadoes that we got over the last 20 years, let's say.
Yeah.
Earthquakes.
I just want to say that
are actually. Yep.
I was just going to say I like what Mallory said. She's going to try to get a video done before bed. The last Friday's video I have been trying to get done ever since last Thursday night. I'm so exhausted by the time I sit down to edit that I'll sit down and I'll be editing and just 4 hours have passed. I'm going to bed.
Can you bring Tyler's last comment?
I'm looking for boom.
Yep. Tyler, it is actually happening. 2x6s framing is something that is now pretty common right now, at least here in Canada. And I've even seen some construction where they've put 2x8s, not really for strength, but more for the insulation values that they added in. Something else that I've saw recently, let's say over the last 10 to 15 years, some builders are right now building with plywood on the outside, but also now on the inside. To even strengthen the house structure.
Interesting.
Yep.
And he also sort of I love heirloom seeds. I think it's hard to really dive hard into heirloom seeds because they can be a little hard to find sometimes. But
yes.
I tend to like heirloom varieties. Sometimes they can be real hard to like. There's a melon called the Montreal Melon. Okay, but 100 years ago, this melon was available on like high-end train rides throughout the United States. It was like this high-end melon. The price was huge, very, very fragile. Didn't travel well. You had to pack the ever-loving crap out of the crates because they were very easy to ding and ruin. They've essentially disappeared. There's one guy with a farm full of them here in Montreal. I mean, I guess now people are using seeds or whatever, but it's a very rare melon. I have a friend who buys them whenever he has the chance, and says that they taste delicious, but I've never even tried one.
I haven't either. Yeah. There's actually the Institut de Technique Agricole, which is the one of our I'd say one of our farm cottages in Quebec. The one in La Pocatière actually has a project for heirloom, specifically for Quebec, for heirloom crops. I've worked with them maybe about 15 years ago, specifically on apples. Worked with them for maybe a couple of weeks. We were looking for old orchard across eastern Quebec, and we've picked up. We were just picking up apples to get them analyzed, and I believe that they recovered 7 or 8 apple types that they were thought to be lost.
Okay.
So
I'm just putting up, guys. I'm putting up interesting posts on the bottom of the screen here. I encourage you to read them as I put them up.
I'm gonna need to read it through after this live stream anyway. Yeah. Because everything looks to be good in the chat right now.
Yeah, it looks like
probably because I'm not there. But
hey, up north of 60s here. Up north of 60, we're talking about. Hold on, you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm putting up the invite again for anyone who wants to come on and talk. We're talking about a bunch of things tonight, Mr. 60. We started off talking about just a couple of people went and hit the woods recently, so I was asking. Excuse me. Simon here was telling us about his trip, but then we found out that poor Tyler Wood. He lost his house in one of those hurricanes, or
the retro.
Yeah, I was going to say in one of those hurricanes, but what I meant is one of these natural disasters that seem to have kicked the U.S.'s arse recently. So then we kind of transitioned to that, and we're just chatting about whatever happens. Mostly riffing off of what's happening in the side chat. I'm just taking a look. Oh no, Grace. I was at about $100 worth of heirloom seeds in her garage last winter. Only left the pepper seeds. Oops.
I'm gonna try to export a few pictures and pass them to you through our back door.
Okay.
So you can show them to folks.
Tyler says, here in the US, we can get lots of heirloom seeds. Our populace is catching on to how harmful the sterile seeds are to our lower middle classes. It's also actually not so great well, in some ways, it's not so great for the farmers either. Like when you have Monsanto seeds, for instance, right? Their seeds are all protected. And what that means is you can't just save the seeds from one crop and use them in the next year. So, I mean, if I was a farmer, which I'm not, I would probably try to make heirloom my niche and stay the hell away from buying land next to a Monsanto farm.
Yeah, we can talk about this for hours.
Yeah.
It is not that easy to understand, especially heirloom varieties.
But the thing is, if you're going to be a farmer dealing with that, then it's your job to figure it out, you know?
Yeah, but figuring it out and making a living out of it is 2 different topics.
Yeah, Tyler, I think the years of the gentleman farmer are long gone.
They are.
It's a tough job.
I've been born and partially raised on a farm.
Yeah.
I still have uncle and cousins that are doing it, so I still have a pretty good idea of what's going on there. It's totally crazy. Let's put it that way.
It's not necessarily a great time to be a farmer.
It is not. It is.
Hey, if up north of 60, if you're still hanging around, have you hit the woods recently? You hit the woods? Hold on. There's a message about to pop up from Brother Love.
Yep,
It's weird
Tyler.
because I have like a side chat from the YouTube page open in the corner, and even though this live stream is happening in StreamYard and streaming to YouTube, the YouTube chat is ahead of the
Oh yeah, no one
of the StreamYard chat.
yeah, I just forgot the one in just skip the one in StreamYard. It's not worth it. I'm
Yeah,
sorry
but this is the one where I can pop stuff to.
Trying to make a few good pictures to export them quickly.
Yeah.
To not bother people that much.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm pretty good at bothering people anyway.
I'm just making sure that we're not losing the side chat here.
Yeah, that's another good one.
There we go. Yeah.
I spent about 20 years with the Canadian Red Cross on the what they've called the Service aux Sinistrés, the emergency team, I'd say.
Yeah.
And all these events that we got, the red shows, the hurricanes, and whatever storm that we went through, are bad. But unfortunately, the frequency will only increase at the end. That's the worst at the end.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to say.
Most of the summer hitting the trails on your mountain bike. You have a 2-day trip planned for next weekend. I used to mountain bike fairly avidly, and so did the missus. And then we had kids, and I haven't been on my trail bike in, well, give me a turn 9 on Saturday. So that's about as long as it's been since I've been mountain biking. So I've got this, $2,500 trail bike just hanging off the rafters in my garage. And
at 2,500 is not the highest price one.
No, you can hit 10 grand on a mountain bike without even trying. But of course, the blue book value on my bike is currently $400. So I mean, I may as well I should just have sold it a few years ago, but but yeah, I miss the mountain biking sometimes. Thing is, because my opportunities for woods time are so constrained, I would rather spend that time paddling or bushcrafting than mountain biking at this point. It's not because I don't like mountain biking. It's because my greenery time is very, very
and I totally
budgeted,
I totally agree with you.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, the mountain biking must be epic up there.
Yeah. And,
I think he's in the Northwest Territories. I had thought it was Yukon, but I think he's in the Territories, right?
Up north, yeah.
Yeah.
He's I believe he's around the Great Slave Lake.
I don't remember.
Or the Slave Lake.
Yeah. So Mike sometimes has to hike among the cattle. It's funny.
Yeah, Mark just sent me an email, a backdoor message regarding the volcano in Indonesia. I just post the URL out of it for it.
Okay. Oh yes, I see it in the YouTube side. 2020.
I'm trying to.
I'm trying to say this without using any swear words, but it's really sort of, it's worn out its welcome. Shall we say it that way? Worn out its welcome. Yeah.
I'm wondering
Let's
I'm
go.
wondering if 2021 will be better at this point.
I don't want to say anything. Like, I don't want to say, oh, well, it can't possibly be worse, because then it'll be, the universe will be like, challenge accepted. So I just,
Yeah.
you know, hold on.
Hey, Alain.
Hey, Elaine's here. How's it going?
Yep.
Yeah, this volcano thing. I thought the volcano was bad, and then I came online, and people were like, "Oh yeah, United States shook
Yeah.
itself to pieces, got twirled around in a tornado. Oh, and there was a hurricane." I was like, "Okay, all right, okay, okay." That's the way it's going to be. Exactly. That's what I'm afraid of. It's like,
You got signal on your PC right now, Jesse?
do I have signal? Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you the pictures and signal right now.
Okay. And the moderators, are they waiting for the live stream?
No, straight in your personal box.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna show you guys some pictures from Simo's trip to the woods, because that seems a little happier than what we've been talking about. Alain.
Oh, that's a good one.
Alain, you are such a brat. Such a brat. And here's Mark being like, "Don't do it." Hey.
I'm gonna. There's 2 more pictures that I need to.
Okay.
That needs to be uploaded before that you show them.
Okay. What do you? Is that a shotgun in your avatar there?
Yeah, that's my Remington 870.
And is that like a dog sled, or is that prey underneath you?
Let me see. It's a fire, actually.
Oh, it's just a fire?
Okay. Yeah, it's a fire. Yeah, it was taken 1 year. Myself and Vivian were taken on to winter camp, and we had a bunch of wood left over. So we went out on the kind of the point of the island where we enter in to head down to the camp, and we just had a fire there. It was a beautiful evening. And Vivian happened to catch that silhouette of me with the shotgun over my shoulder. So it was an organic photo. It looked pretty cool. So yeah, I like it as my avatar.
That's cool.
It's been a while that I've shot an 870.
I haven't shot one of those, and I've only ever shot one once. In fact, I've only ever fired a shotgun once. Wait, no guns. Sorry.
Oh yeah, be careful.
It's hard sometimes because but I'm trying to get remonetized here, so
that's right.
Well, forget about it.
I think you only get to say the word so many times before Big Brother hears us.
Now you just stop that now.
Exactly.
Come on, guys. Big Brother doesn't listen to anything.
Now you just stop that now. What? Okay. So mountain biking, man. Hey, what do you ride? What's your ride?
I have a Rocky Mountain bike. It's a 29er, so it has the larger wheels on it.
Oh, wow, nice choice.
Yeah, I've been using that bike now for probably 5 years. It's a really good bike. So it's a hardtail. I have a beautiful suspension up front. It has rock shocks on it.
Okay.
So living up here in the Canadian Shield, you can ride on smooth rocks. Kind of do a little bit of trail jumping, I guess. So it's pretty good. We have it set up so I can carry some camping gear, some very, very light camping gear on the back of my bike with a backpack, and kind of take a minimalistic approach when we head in. Just something different, just challenging. It's not using the skidoo or a quad. It's packing everything in with a mountain bike.
Yeah. I have 2 bikes. One which I've swapped the knobbly mountain tires off of because I just use it to get around. That one's a hardtail. It's a cross country race bike made by Da Vinci. So it's a hardtail as well. Race bikes almost like they just never had disc brakes on them or anything because of the extra weight. But I swapped the brakes out and put discs on it and did a bunch of things before I stopped mountain biking and put road tires on it. So it's a very fancy bike that never goes to the woods. And my trail bike is a dual suspension Cannondale Prophet. They're both very old at this point. The Prophet's 10 years old. The Vinci's got to be like 15 years old. But I love them both. I see no reason to buy anything else. But I wanted a Rocky Mountain for a long time. Either that or like a Santa Cruz.
Yeah. The first bike I had was, I think it was like a Norco. And that was a great bike, but unfortunately it was stolen. And then I went out and purchased the Rocky Mountain. And I kind of went with that whole buy once, cry once model.
Yeah.
So I cried for quite a while after buying that bike. But now that I've had it for 5+ years, it's a great mountain bike. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. Thanks, Hike. Yeah, it's funny how like you can throw so much money at one of those, but if you do that, then you're not buying one in a couple of years. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, as you can imagine, I mean, it's like you put your mountain bike through some pretty horrific things sometimes. And I mean, I've had that thing up over one shoulder and I climbed up a mountain. I wouldn't, like a mountain's an exaggeration, but I climbed up a very steep cliff and lost the bike off my shoulder and caught up out of the handlebar, and the thing kind of like, scratched, like on the rocks, and my chain was tangled up, and just get it to the top of the hill and cycle through it a few times with the gears, and the bike works perfectly. So it's a very durable bike, and it's actually pretty lightweight considering the size of it.
Is it a aluminum frame or a carbon?
No, it's aluminum, and the carbon frames were quite a bit more expensive, but the aluminum frame it's very lightweight. I can easily pick it up over one shoulder and walk with it, like no problem at all.
Yeah. So when you do your 2-day trip, that's going to be a camping and biking trip?
Yeah.
So, okay. Actually, this suddenly became very interesting. So when you do that, do you go like full on lightweight camping stuff, or do you sort of fudge it a little?
I go as minimalistic as possible. So usually I'll always pack one complete set of Gore-Tex gear with me. Okay. So that's my primary shelter. I have a 2-bottle carrier. So I have 2 Camelback podium bottles that I put on my frame for a total of 2 liters. And then I have a Camelback that's a 3-liter pack. So I have 5 liters total water.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And then I usually have just a day pack with, just like a merino wool base layer, and just a bivy sack and a small little pillow, a little a Thermarest pillow, and it's Exped. I'm looking at it there now. It's like a 7W. It's like a sleeping pad, like a very small, lightweight, inflatable sleeping pad, and that's it.
So okay. What about bugs?
Just deal with them. I have a small little bottle of off, just a little bit of mosquito spray, but for the most part, I just deal with them.
Really?
Yeah, because bugs aren't a thing in Northwest Territory. So,
well, I figured that
bugs are absolutely terrible in the Northwest Territory.
Yeah, Simone was being sarcastic. We're both sort of impressed that you just deal with them.
Yeah, you just deal with them. That's it.
Maybe how mosquitoes like certain people's blood types or whatever, and not other people's.
Yeah,
I don't know about you, but if I go into the woods, even here in Montreal, like the Parc Nature de Bois de Liesse, Simone, you know that where that is, right?
Yep.
If I walk in there and I don't have my bug spray on, they will drain me completely. I will be dead an hour in. So the idea of just dealing with them up in the territories,
so
is
you're not
terrifying.
So you're not gonna like the boreal forest, Jesse.
I love the boreal forest, but I do like that's deep territory for me. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't do the DEET-free bug spray or anything like that. I go for the DEET, and if it's really bad, I have a little, those things that I don't know the word for in English or in French, like a little bug net thing.
Oh yeah.
This is getting embarrassing, guys. Thanks for just hanging me out there, guys. No one's jumping in there. We're like, come on, Jess, you can do it. You can do it. Come on. Yeah, bug. Yeah, net. Yes. Hey. But yeah, that's for me. Anyways, I'm impressed. That sounds like a really nice minimalist setup too.
Yeah, super minimalist. I mean, and like for a knife, I just carried like a more bushcraft knife. I won't even take my SE5 with me because it's too heavy. I'm just like super lightweight. Take a multi-tool and fire steel. That's basically it.
Now, if it rains, like I guess you check the weather beforehand, but like how much rain do you deal with on a regular basis at around this time of year?
This summer has been a lot of rain this summer, more so than previous years. In fact, the Great Slave Lake is up by about 3 feet this year, 36 inches.
Wow.
But like that's why I always take Gore-Tex with me every year. Anytime I go out, I always have a good layer, like a good 3-ply Gore-Tex that I roll up, and that's it. And like that's just my, like I kind of break it down like the water, signal, shelter, food, fire, first aid. Security, and my Gore-Tex for me is just a layer. It's just like a shelter basically. So I have that as my primary shelter, and if it rains, I just put my Gore-Tex on.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. It sounds like a great trip to me.
Yeah.
I just want to show you guys some of the pictures that Simon sent me from his trip to the woods. I would love a place out in the bush with that kind of terrace on it, where it's just like a screen.
Since early, the veranda was probably the best feature that we had.
Because I like to sit out there while it's raining, Yep. Tabernouche. That doesn't suck.
That's a beautiful cabin.
Holy crap, yeah.
And those are about 60 years old, but well maintained. Yeah. And don't forget, this is government run.
Right. Is that a sit back?
Yep.
Look at all them canoes. Look at that.
Few canoes, few rowboats, few kayaks, few paddle boards.
Yeah, because we're going to be going to a sit back next week as well. We're going to Plaisance. It's near like Montebello.
Yep.
Yeah. Here's a little wisdom from Brother Love. If bugs are on you, you're biking way too slow. That is true. When I was mountain biking at Bromo every weekend, sometimes I didn't even notice that there was a bug problem until I came to stop and drink some water and like shit.
So Alain, just to give you the information, this was at the Réservoir Mastigouche. We were at the Grand Lac des Îles.
Oh, here's something Grace says. Camping. Blah, blah. I may start that sentence again. Camping last weekend, I used 100% DEET and treated gear with permethrin. I still got some chigger bites, but they didn't have a feast like they normally do. Now, permethrin in Canada is kind of a weird thing.
It is now authorized.
Is it?
Yep.
Since when?
Since beginning of the year. Actually, Mark's Warehouse / L'Equipeur does have some permethrin clothing this year on sale.
Wow.
And permethrin was always sold in Canada anyway.
Yeah, but not for human use.
Not for human use, but just go see your Tractor Supply / Co-op / whatever place that you buy your equipment and
cattle grade.
You still
see. Here's the thing: do you guys, both of you guys, watch My Self-Reliance, right?
Yeah. Well, whenever I can.
So you guys remember that episode where he was talking about how he treats his clothes with permethrin at the beginning of the year? He uses the cattle grade. That idea terrified me. Like the clothes you can buy with permethrin already impregnated.
It's gonna be.
I wouldn't
It's gonna
be.
be. You can get about between 50 and 70 washes before it's totally out.
Well, here's the thing. If I'm just gonna dunk my clothes in permethrin and dry them out, I'm not going to want to sweat in those clothes. Whereas if I buy permethrin impregnated clothes and I get something like 60, 50 washes out of them, I'm not going to be that afraid to be like working under the summer sun.
Okay, let's put it that way. Would you rather get Lyme disease?
Well, that's what Tenenbaum just said, right? He says it's because we suddenly have a tick problem. Hey, do you have a tick population way up north?
No, we're actually very lucky for that. There are no ticks in my area at all.
Because we never had them before. Never.
It is just too cold.
And it took so long for the medical establishment in Quebec to sort of realize, and like they would test, but the tests were, I don't know what, they were doing some half-assed test and it kept coming back negative and people were still getting Lyme disease, right? Because the medical establishment was just like, start again. The medical establishment was like, there's no ticks here. Did you go somewhere? You don't have Lyme disease. Give us a break. And then suddenly, oh, there are ticks here and people are getting Lyme disease. And like, why does the establishment always move so slowly? Because someone always gets, I was going to use a bad word, but someone always gets duffed up in the process before the establishment sort of, I don't mean established. I'm not wearing like a tinfoil hat here, guys. I mean like the medical establishment, the government, the people whose job it is to not panic.
2 years ago, we didn't have any ticks on the North Shore of the St. Lawrence River. There were no occurrence statistically of ticks whatsoever.
Yeah.
Now, at the Réserve Mastigouche, where I was over the last days, they're not in the red zone, but they have seen ticks.
Yeah. It's too bad.
Oh, that's interesting. The comment from Highquick Mike. Lyme disease is still rare down here in Florida. It's mostly a major problem in the American Northeast and Midwest, but cases down here are just not as prevalent as at least so far.
Yeah.
So bottom line, if it's too cold, you don't have the issue. If it's too hot, you don't have the issue.
I didn't know that.
Choose your poison.
Yeah.
Oh, permethrin. And Grace, yes, Grace. Permethrin is a synthetic version of the chemical found in chrysanthemum
flowers.
Yep.
Hmm.
So should I be planting chrysanthemum everywhere?
I'm gonna wear one in my hair.
Oh, that's gonna be sexy.
That's gonna be hard to do.
And we're both in the same situation, so
yeah.
Maybe if we put a bit of hook and loop.
Don't try to work it out. It's not worth it. But yeah, hike with Mike. That's interesting that Lyme disease is so rare down there, and it's funny because not every tick is going to give you Lyme disease, but if you see a tick and it goes chomp, you got to deal with it as though it's going to, just in case, you got to get that thing out. You gotta deal with it. I have what's called a tick key. You guys might know that, right? Real simple. You can get them at Lee Valley. I noticed that at the pharmacy they sell like tick tweezers and stuff now. We sent our girl, our older girl, Camille, who you guys have seen. I don't know why. Can I just start that again?
Yep.
So this summer we sent Camille to a day camp at the Parc Nature Bois de Liesse, which you guys have seen us playing around in a couple of videos. And this day camp spends all day exploring the woods and fishing and stuff. And in recent years, they've said, look, there are ticks at the park. So DEET bug spray, long sleeves, long legs, light colors if possible. Here's the thing. By the time we read this, because we're so on time in this family this year, it was too bloody late to buy anything. So I'm running around. We're ordering like discount clothes and trying to get her, stuff that comes to here, but it's light colors so the bugs don't swarm her. And the thing is, I'm thinking Mr. Bushcrafter here should have been all over that, even if she wasn't going to camp. Like I should have known this. I did know this. Why the hell didn't I jump on this, But I try to be a no regrets type of guy. And, we found stuff, and it ended up that like most of the kids in the camp were wearing shorts and t-shirt anyway. So we gave her a really big bottle of off and said, douse yourself, please. And did, the tick check every day after camp. She didn't have anything, She had more trouble with the fact that she was the only girl in her group. She's like, boys are gross. They're picking their nose. And I saw somebody's underwear today. And I'm like, please don't change. Don't change. In the 10 years, I don't want to be having the opposite problem. But yeah.
Sorry, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going to catch up with the side chat here. Hey, Wood Pigeon's here. How's it going? I made it to August. Welcome to level 8 of Jumanji.
That's a great comment.
I do not want to die based on that comment. Okay. Alain says, I try to avoid walking in long grass when wearing shorts, but I still check my legs during and after my walks to see. Yeah, Alain, you spend a lot of time kicking around in the woods, the parks. I will say again, guys, if you can, check out Alain's Instagram. His Instagram, right? You don't only do the Facebooks, but his bird photography is worth looking at. Mark, no problem. I've finished the beer. Hike with Mike says, bring the tweezers or tick key, but don't forget the rubbing alcohol to put on the tick bite after removing it. Hey, you know what? Yeah, you're right. And I do forget the rubbing alcohol every single time. So thanks for reminding me. That's true.
That's funny because I do carry rubbing alcohol pretty much all the time. And I've been doing it for years.
Yeah, but you've got like a mini ambulance in your pocket all the time, right?
No,
I just want to say hi, Mallory. I see that you're still here.
Actually, I'm not using it as in my first aid kit. I'm using it in my toolkit. Because when you repair electronics and you need a solvent,
yeah,
it goes on a spot, and everything is fine after that.
Crap. Mark, this is not what I wanted to share. I wanted to share the Hike with Mike comment, but just as I clicked on him, everything went phoomp. So I'm just going to get back to rubbing alcohol is hard to find down here due to coronavirus. The shelves are almost empty these days. Montreal too. Too. Whenever we see it, we buy like 4 because it's very hard.
It depends where you look. I got a great success at Costco.
Huh.
Yep.
Interesting.
Unfortunately, it is not a 70% proof.
What is it?
99% proof. And you need to
water that down. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's available.
Wood Pigeon. I know a guy here in town who makes cigar box guitars, sort of as a side hustle. They're very interesting. I'd like to see that. Alain. It's funny because I think I told you 60. Why do I keep calling you 60? Why do I keep forgetting your bloody name? I know your name.
Yeah, my name is Dave.
Yeah, why do I keep forgetting that? My dad's name is Dave. Anyways, start again. like my brother used to live in Yellowknife. I think I told you this, right? He used to fly for First Air. We've had this convo, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And I feel regret over the fact that he said, "Come on up, man. Come on up. All you got to do is pay the ticket to get here. It's great. It's great." Because I've always wanted to see the North. Like I've got this thing. I want to see the North, sort of more in the summer, maybe. But I never went. I was still really sort of new in, like I was a freelancer at that time. So the money was either really, really there or really, really not. And I always had to sort of plan for paying the rent when it really, really wasn't. And so I never took him up on that. And so part of the reason I like your videos so much is that I still need to see the North one day. And I think that I have to make that trip at some point soon. Like maybe before I'm 50. That gives me 2 years. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would highly recommend it. I mean, I'm biased obviously because I live here in the North, but it's been life changing for me, and I've had friends and family that's come up to visit, and it's been life changing for them as well. You know, it's there's something about the North that just has a certain magnetic pull to it, no pun intended. But it's you know, truly magical up here, and it's kind of everything as a bushcrafter or an outdoorsman. It's like everything is right here, depending upon what season, right? I mean, if you want the summertime, you have, you know, long days. You have beautiful areas for hiking, for mountain biking, for canoeing, camping. If you want, you know, hunting in the fall of the year, you have, you know, the aurora borealis. The weather up here is perfect during that time. And if you're into the cold weather camping and ice fishing, I mean, you know, there's no better place than the North for that.
Yeah. I want to see it one day soon.
I got through Yellowknife 3 times, and well, it was literally through because we didn't spend much time there. But yeah.
Was this with the forces?
Yep. And but surprisingly, the sister of one of my friends lived in Yellowknife for years. She was a teacher at the high school there. She's now in Iqaluit, I believe.
Okay. Iqaluit, so that's Nunavut, isn't it?
No, that's now. Yeah. Sorry, it's Nunavut now.
Yeah.
Fun fact that Les Stroud actually lived in Yellowknife for quite a few years back in his earlier days.
A long time
ago. And a lot
ago.
of his bushcrafting that he learned and practiced was actually right around the Great Slave Lake.
Yeah. And that's where you are, right? Great Slave?
Yeah, I'm on the Great Slave Lake.
Yeah. Because I had asked, I think when you just popped on, I was trying to remember if you were in the Yukon or the Territories. Because obviously I've never been to the Yukon either. I hear Whitehorse is very, very nice, though.
That's funny. I
It
just
is.
checked. I'm rarely checking social media.
Yeah.
But one of my former coworker is actually doing for the 10th time, because it's doing it one every second year. He's doing for the 10th time the Mackenzie River from Great Slave Lake down to Tuktoyaktuk this year.
Wow, that would
So
be
how
an
long does
amazing
that
journey.
take? Yeah, it sounds like it. How long does that take?
He's taking off for 3.5 months every 2 years.
Wow.
So 1 week to get there and 1 week to get back. So in 3 months.
Wow. I keep click. Okay. I think there's an 18-day trip you can take on the Yukon River.
Maybe.
He's
doing it by canoe, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm looking this stuff up because I kind of want to do a trip on not for my 50th birthday, but for my 50th birthday. Like, I don't mean it has to be on my birthday, but for my 50th year. Wait, if I turn 50, then that makes it my 51st year. To celebrate turning 50, I would like to do a big trip that I can blog about or vlog about, you know. And I was thinking about maybe the Yukon River. And like, it has to be something that I've never done before.
Yeah, the Mackenzie River.
I don't know if I have enough time for like a 3-month trip though. Like, I can do like maybe 3 weeks.
I think you can do it probably sooner.
Yeah. If
I feel like you can probably do it a little bit quicker.
What was going on right there?
I had my wife that wanted to be there, but not there. So, yeah.
It's funny. So you think I can fit in a chunk, or I can do a good part of it in 3 weeks, Dave?
I'd have to check it out, but I feel like you can do it sooner than 3 months. I feel like you could do it in a few weeks. And it would really depend upon the season, I guess, because the Great Slave Lake actually runs north up to the Arctic Ocean.
I'll be right
So
back.
Okay.
I think if you done it maybe like early summer, just after the melt, you'd have a pretty good current heading north, so you could probably get there a little bit quicker, as opposed to waiting towards the end of the season or end of the summer.
Okay.
But I'll have to ask around. That's actually a good question.
Well, one thing that I found attractive about the Yukon River is that there's only one rapids, right?
Yes, yeah.
You know, and I'm like, I would have to relearn to canoe over the next 2 years to do it, kind of thing. So I would not be a highly experienced canoeist yet at that point. So like, if it's something with, I think I'm just looking for an excuse to hit the north. You know?
Yeah, I'm feeling you.
Yeah, you know, I think I'm just looking for an excuse to get up there. And this is like a built-in excuse. You know, some people hit their, you know, their midlife crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, they buy a Ferrari. I want to take a canoe somewhere. You know, I just want to get up there.
Yeah, I think that'd be a crazy journey. I was subscribed to someone on YouTube, and I don't remember who it was, but this guy, I think, was dropped off on the Yukon River, and he built himself a boat, or he built them. It wasn't quite a boat, but it was like almost like a barge, you know, like a wooden barge out of logs he built, and then he just like basically went down the Yukon River on this wooden raft that he built. It was pretty good, and he vlogged the whole thing.
Wow.
And I remember being like, I think it might have been a 6 or 7 part series, but I feel like I watched that maybe like 10 years ago, like in the early days of YouTube.
That sounds cool to me. That sounds very cool. Because I mean, I guess if you're doing it in a barge like that, or a raft, you're just letting the current take you, right?
Yeah.
And hoping to hell you don't run aground on something. But then how the hell did he get around that one rapid?
I'm not sure. It was quite a few years ago. He may have just portaged it, or maybe disassembled it, or somehow like, you know, rigged up some ropes and like winched his boat over the rapids maybe. But I remember watching it thinking like, that was so cool. Like they literally just dropped this guy off with like a backpack and some, you know, and some camping gear, and it took him like a week to build this thing, and he just spent another 2 or 3 weeks heading down the Yukon River.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Interesting. That is very interesting. You know, when we're done here, I'm going to do like a YouTube search. Barge, Yukon River. You know, golden age of YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like it was like about 10 years ago, so it might have been back when it was only like 360p, you know, when the video quality. Yeah.
But you know, it's funny because right before 28, like the end of 2018 ish, maybe the beginning of 2018, when I got my ADD, where is it? My camera. I spent a couple of years without a YouTubing camera, so I was using a phone. But like all my videos were 720p because I was using the front facing camera.
Right. Yeah.
So I could see myself in the screen, because some of my more recent videos where I'm using the back end of my my new iPhone, which is not here, you know, because it's got 4K cameras, right? Like sometimes the framing is really off, and I try to fix it by zooming in a little bit and sort of. But there are some shots I have that just are not salvageable. I put them in anyway. And, well, you know, keep it in for the storytelling aspect. But
right, yeah, I've tried that several times too. Where like I've been out to my camp and I, you know, flip my phone around hoping to capture some good, you know, high definition video, and I end up hitting like slow-mo mode sometimes, or I'll hit like
I wasted an entire video exactly that way, right? I'm I've got it facing me and I'm like tapping around the back to sort of hit the trigger. Slow-mo. And you know what the problem is with slow-mo? You can speed up the image so that it kind of looks like you're, doing stuff at the real speed. But what you can't salvage is the sound quality.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, oh my God, I spent all night slow-moing myself. I'll just shoot it again next week.
Yeah, it's a funny you said that, because there was a video I had shot last year over to my camp where I accidentally hit the slow-mo button, and I had this like outro. It was like a 5-minute segment, and I clued it up perfectly. One take, didn't make any mistakes, and I never even watched it back. Usually, I'll sit down and just watch it back to make sure everything is how I want it. And I just saved the video, and I came home, and then I went to edit the video, and I'm like, you had to be kidding me! I recorded this entire thing in slow-mo. So I sped it up, but what happened was you kind of lose some of the video quality. So it looked super pixelated, but I just dropped the audio and then I done a voiceover on it. So no one even knew that I'd done it. No one caught it. And the video had like several thousand views.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I kind of salvaged it, but yeah. So sometimes I'll just do the 720. I'll just do the forward facing camera,
Yeah.
It's not as good, but it is what it is.
It's going to be good enough for. I just want to say to Mallory, thanks for letting me know that he wrote you back. Just let him know that I'm thinking. Well, I guess we're all thinking about him, and we're hoping it's the best for him. Okay. Poor guy. Jesus.
What happened?
He lost his house in that hurricane in Iowa.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So depressing. Wow, Wood Pigeon got a canoe for free. You know who else got his first canoe for free? Casey the Happy Camper. He found a canoe in a garbage dump, and paddling is the way he pays his mortgage, right? Paddling and writing about paddling. Amazing. Do you ever have this problem, Dave, that Wood Pigeon is having?
Let me see. What does it say? I've been filming videos, but I've been losing interest in filming when I get into what I'm doing. Oh yeah, all the time.
Right? It's like
my entire YouTube. I'm not going to say career because it's not a career, but my entire YouTube presence has been feeling exactly that. If I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, you end up fighting it.
Yeah,
it hits me a lot. It hits me. I've been working for days on, excuse me, on last Friday's video. I keep sort of redoing it and re-editing because it's this sucks, God, blah blah blah, and I'm gonna have to voice over it because I didn't talk in it except for my intro and my outro. I thought I would try that, but it's too long for that kind of thing, I feel. So I may have to do a little voiceover on it. And I lost the love of this video about 3 days ago. Like when I re-edited for the second time and realized like this isn't what I want it to be. But because it's the knife sheath build, it's not something I can just redo. So I have to get this video out, and so I've been fighting exactly what Wood Pigeon is talking about here on the editing side. And anyway, fighting some of those framing issues I was mentioning before, fighting lighting issues, all kinds of stuff. And I'm just getting through it by bloody mindedness. When we're done here, I'm going to get back on it and maybe do a little voiceover or something. And
yeah.
It's just, it happens to me a lot. And
that would probably be more appropriate just to get over it and do a voiceover.
Yeah, I mean, I've already got music, it's essentially edited. I just have to watch it one more time and like, am I really going to reopen this and do a voiceover? Probably.
Well, guys, I'm out of Google Foo because I can't locate at all the Mackenzie River barge camping thing that Dave was talking about.
Well, it might not be up anymore. I've taken stuff
That's
down
what
before.
I fear.
You know?
I'll have a quick look for it here too, and I'll see if I can find it and send you guys a link for it.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a video where the guy is not on YouTube anymore, maybe he took down his channel, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Mark, no, it's not the same Tyler who was here. That's Tyler Rodriguez.
Yep.
Alain, yes, we'll talk about it later, but yeah, I'll figure out how to do that, how to get that. What Alan is talking about is a future video coming up. Sorry, guys, I got a certain something in my throat.
I just want to go back and just address what Wood Pigeon was saying there as well. Like in terms of filming, like, you know, don't worry so much about what your expectation is of the video. Like I find for me that when I shoot something, I set these high expectations of how I think it should look, and I want it to look a certain way or have a certain feel to it, or to capture something very specific to me that means something to me. But when you have random viewers watching it, I mean, the fact that they're watching your videos anyways mean that they have an interest in what you're doing.
Yeah,
and something that
true.
may seem so mundane and normal to me, that's just like, well, that's just me doing this, or that's just me splitting wood, or that's just me operating my chainsaw. To someone else, that could be a very impressionable moment where it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. Or the sounds, maybe they're finding meaning, or they're finding something within that I don't even see because I've just kind of glazed over it because it's, you know, it's just normal to me. Right.
Yeah.
And then I find sometimes when I overcomplicate things, or if I overreach on my videos, I end up going back for the second edit or the third edit. And then I just really get sick and tired of listening to myself or watching those scenes over and over again. And then I tend to chop more footage, and to the point where I'll take a 30-minute video and chop it down to 10 minutes or even to 5 minutes because I just cut everything out of it.
Yeah.
And I've found that some of the videos that I've had greater success with were ones I just tried to make it as organic as possible, and just, even if there is some like shakiness of the camera, or if I'm not exactly in frame, or if the lighting is kind of bad, that just adds more to the authenticity of the video. Because really, I mean, I'm just using my iPhone in -30 in the middle of the Canadian wilderness. It's like I'm not going to have a high production value because I don't have the time and the resources to be able to, you know, video in those environments. So I try to take my phone out and capture those moments as they happen to try to make it as real as possible. So there's going to be, you know, some of that feel to it. And I think that's kind of what works sometimes, you know, in my own opinion.
Something I've been meaning to ask you about for a long time is, how do you keep the battery from dying on you in -30?
It is very, very difficult to do. So basically I have a Ziploc bag, and I take a few of them with me because they just fall apart when it's -30. And I put my phone in a Ziploc bag, and then I have a heavy down-filled glove, like, you know, like a mitten. And then I take the little hand warmers, and I put my hand warmers inside of my down-filled glove, so it acts as like a little miniature sleeping bag. And then I insert my phone with the Ziploc bag inside of my glove, and I put that inside of my jacket.
Okay.
So the plastic acts as a barrier, so it doesn't absorb any moisture in my phone. And then the battery stays warm, of course, because it's, you know, it's inside of the glove that's heated. And then I have these little external USB battery packs that I also keep in there as well. So most of the time, what I have done is I have my battery pack that's inside of my glove with like a 6 foot or like a 2 meter charging cable that's coming out of my battery pack that's plugged into my phone directly. And then I have a little tripod that my phone is on. So the phone is usually connected to constant power that's in a warm environment.
See, that's a lot of pageantry, but it's worth it because I've lost a day of filming because halfway through the phone just, you know, it goes on me, or the camera, you know, the battery just dies on me, and I'm like, piss. So I may sort of next winter try to do something similar to that.
Yeah. It works. And I mean, like I get a lot of
Um,
people ask me, why don't you use your DSLR or like bump up your, like your video quality? And it's like, I mean, it's hard enough using my cell phone, much less having to worry about battery packs and a DSLR. So
Well, and
it works.
it's funny because right now the reason I'm not using my oh, there it is. Hold on. The reason I'm not using this right now is because it's not 4K. The 90D is 4K, but I have no money, so I can't buy it. The reason I want the 4K is for the ability to do that sort of jump in that I do, that fast zoom in that I do at certain parts of my videos. And I found that when I was using this, I couldn't really jump in all that far without it getting really kind of pixely. And when I use my phone, I bought my phone specifically because it had all these cameras on it, all these 4K cameras, 3 on one side, 1 on the other. Because with 4K, I can jump into like 150% before you start to see any degradation in the video quality. Because that's sort of part of the style that I've been developing, partly to hide the jump cuts. Let's be straight on that. And partly because I do try to use it to I use it judiciously, like when I want to add to emphasize something I'm saying, I'll jump in a bit, or to avoid visual boredom if it's a long video with no talking or anything. But it's so much simpler to use my phone than all this stuff that I'm not in any hurry to get that 90D. Look, the picture quality is going to be better in the 90D because you're zooming in mechanically instead of digitally, and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I understand.
But the portability of the phone, and also I think these need to operate the way phones operate. That you cannot beat the interface you get on a cell phone when you're filming. You don't need to read a single line of a manual, whereas these are all still really old generation. Even really modern cameras, they're still operating in the 20th century as far as the interface, the on-screen interface goes. And I think that younger generations will be less willing to accept that.
I don't want to interrupt.
Not just like the ease in it.
Yes?
Just receiving a message from one of my friends at Hydro-Quebec, and they're calling up volunteers to go in Iowa and Illinois to help.
Yeah, that's no surprise.
To help reestablish electricity down there.
Yeah, that's not surprised at all.
And I've just confirmed that there's at least one, maybe 2 nuclear power plants that have been shut down due to the derecho.
It's good to know. It's good to know. That's not a surprise at all. There's a lot of travel that way between us and them. Brendan, by the way, says that Solo Kayak Adventures has a good video of a 3-week trip down the Yukon River. So I'm going to check that out. Thanks, Mallory. I wanted to do that earlier. Mallory has just shared the link for Dave's channel for the 1 or 2 of you who've not visited his channel yet. If you haven't, get over there. It's well worth your time. I've got to stop coughing. It's okay. We've only got 26 minutes left. Yeah, it's funny how we've entered a world where at any time your part of the country can get its ass kicked by a hurricane or a tornado or something. It's and we live in the kind of world where if you take the power away, it can have. Okay, yes, if the power is gone, it's a much bigger problem than it was even in the 70s. But you know what else is a big problem? The fact that all the stores only have like 3 days of food in them. And I used to work in an organic grocery store, okay? And that's where I developed this philosophy that if you take away the kale, in 3 days, the hipsters will be shooting each other in the streets. You know what I'm saying? And like we're entering a world where, hey, Dr. Sharper's here. How's it going? How are you doing? We're entering a world where efficiency, by definition, is not robust, right? Buying anything from Amazon these days has shown us this. Amazon is efficient, man. You order something and 2 days later in Canada, it's at your door. But what that means is that level of service is very easy to interrupt. I have certain things from Amazon that I ordered 2.5 months ago and they're still not here. So I'm pissed off about it. Whereas when I was a kid, if you ordered something from a different country in 2.5 months, it wasn't there. Dude, I'm in Canada. That is like standard, you know?
I have a first world problem right now.
Okay, go.
Pump on my hot tub has broken.
Oh, you poor man. Are you going to make it? How are you doing? Tell me all about it.
I've made a few calls to get that part right. Okay.
Yeah.
And today I was told maybe for December.
Whoa. Okay.
Maybe.
Well, the good news is in December, you'll have a hot tub.
So now I'm pondering my options. And probably what I'm going to do is literally empty that thing out and make sure that everything is has no water in it, just literally for next winter.
Yeah.
There's nothing else that I can do. Yeah, first world problem.
Yeah.
The freaking pump is not available at all in North America.
I like what Black Dog wrote here. I had cattle get out in my garden. Cattle won't even eat kale. But I was gonna say, yeah, it's weird how like, if you take the electricity away, how much more fundamental a problem that is today, where so much of our life happens online. And I don't just mean what we're doing now and the Facebooks and the Instagrams. I mean like ordering stuff and keeping stuff going and keeping the news going, you know, as newspapers disappear and go online only. Like so much of our life is no longer about atoms. Right now it's all about bits. And that means that if the power goes, all that stuff that we used to have is gone.
Let's face it. I'm out of job right now. Do you know
why? I don't know. You're a communications tech, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm telecom.
Yeah.
But right now, they're literally companies that are getting out of downtown Montreal.
Yeah.
There's no projects right now.
Right, I get it. Yeah.
So even if I want to do something, there's just out of nowhere a massive amount of workers that are ready to do something.
Yeah.
And we're just competing against each other right now because we were just doing projects downtown Montreal and in corporations all over the place. Now everybody works from home.
Yeah.
That's a good problem.
Yeah, and a lot of people are out of work right now because of all this crap, and because of the COVID and everything. I do want to say, Dave, what Mallory is saying here. She's also sick of rewatching her footage, and I'm in the same spot with the video that was supposed to go up last Friday too. You know, I'm tired of watching it, and I'm doing the same thing as you. It's like every time I watch it, I sort of trim down each clip just a little bit. Sorry. And the thing is, there are 78 clips that had to go into this video. So I can trim them all down as much as I want, but there's still a whole hell of a lot of them. All right, brother love. See you later. Have a good supper. Mask strategies. Yeah. We, I'm still looking for a mask that really, really fits, but I don't want to spend like vast amounts on a mask. But yeah, have a good night, brother love. Fox,
good
it says,
ma-
I'm tired of being
good
stuck at
mask
home.
test. That really fits. Let's see. It is called a gas mask.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm with Fox. That's my life as well right now. Today I went to the grocery store and I went to the Eco Center, which is essentially a next gen town dump. But aside from that, we're totally bunkered here. Our youngest daughter and I are both in sort of the problem case territory, so we're kind of afraid of bringing that stuff home. We have a shortage on some cleaning supplies. Canning jars are non-existent. I hadn't even thought of that.
I
Like,
was able to purchase canning jars recently.
Yes, we have no problem finding them. But canning jars, even in the best of times, are something that it's good to have. I mean, we do preserves and stuff. We don't can for the apocalypse the way some people do, but we're always like making jams or pickles or whatever. Maybe not pickles. I miss pickles.
We've
No one
done
else
some
in my family.
pickles today. I've done some relish last week.
Relish, nice. We did some chutney a few months ago. Ketchup au fruits.
Yep.
Yeah. Grace says there are no freezers for sale where she lives. It's amazing the stuff that is still out of like shipping is still focused really on COVID supplies. So for instance, Camille got a $50 gift certificate to Toys R Us for her birthday on Saturday, and there was nothing there for her to buy. The shelves were bare, except for a few things that she isn't into.
There's many segment of the economy where there's shortage. I do agree. To say that everything is still focused on COVID, no, I don't agree. Amazon did resume 2-day shipping and 1-day shipping actually in Canada.
Yeah, but not for everything, because I
Not
ordered
for
something
everything.
that's not.
But I was surprised that my last order was shipped within a day from Toronto and didn't had groceries or medical supplies in it, and it was a 24-hour drop ship straight from Toronto.
Yeah, but it's very, very item dependent. There are certain things that I've tried to order that I still get the COVID warning on, so I don't even bother ordering. I just cancel because I don't want to wait 3 months for X, Y, or Z anymore. Mark is saying that freezers went really fast when COVID started. That's interesting. It's very interesting.
I'm lucky on that end because I have 2 freezers, and I had them before that whole thing happened.
I wonder what's going to stay expensive and what's not. Have you tried to buy lumber recently?
No, I tried to buy 2 bags of concrete. And I mean tried.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, building supplies up here in the territories are like limited to non-existent. So I've kind of come to a conclusion that people that normally would have vacationed and went down south and spent $5,000 on their summer vacation, they stayed home and said, "Hey, I'm going to build a new patio deck, or I'm going to renovate my house, or paint my bedroom." And it seems that the building supply shops are just empty. There's nothing available at the moment.
Yep, and I've found the same thing. People who usually.
How's the construction in Yellowknife right now?
Sorry?
How's the construction business in Yellowknife?
From what I hear, it's booming. There's not a lot of contractors that are available at the moment because, again, like there's so many people that are just sitting home with nothing to do, and they're just working on home improvement projects.
So there's supplies.
I guess. Well, if you look at it from that perspective, but I mean, from like what I see at the at the home hardware store, there's there's like not a lot of supplies. I mean, like
Yeah.
maybe it's just that whenever the supplies arrive, they're kind of out the door. Like it doesn't seem that there's any inventory or any stock within the stores.
But
And
you got my
contractors
point.
would get to this stuff before, us,
Hmm.
Yeah.
There's literally I could locally either at Rona, at Home Depot, at whatever name that you want to throw at. I wasn't able to locate 2 bags of concrete at all. Small spot, just small repair, nothing. And I was told, well, if you can take between 4 and 6 yards of concrete, you can have a ready mix. Yeah, I need 2 bags, not 6 yards.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
That's an interesting problem.
Sorry, I'm just trying to keep up on this on the side chat
Yeah,
here.
that's what I'm doing, trying to do as well.
Yeah.
But
But up north, you don't have a whole lot of COVID cases though, right, David?
No, we only actually had 5 cases,
Oh.
and they have all been since resolved or are recovered. And we haven't had any other cases in the last few months. So we've been pretty good. The territory shut the border down, and they have very strict guidelines in place for people traveling in and out of the territories. So when you come, so let's say, for an example, if I left to travel down south, I would have to come back and have an isolation plan set prior to leaving, and I would need to reach out to public health and speak to a public health officer and have all of this prearranged prior to leaving.
Okay.
And being approved.
Yeah, and then for people that are living outside of the 4 major hubs in the territories, they would have to be quarantined in one of the major cities or like one of the major hubs, and they basically put people up in a hotel for 2 weeks, and they provide them meals and room for 2 weeks just to monitor the symptoms. And once they once they get past that 2-week part, then they're able to go back home again. So they have some pretty good public health measures in place.
Yeah, the woman that teach in Iqaluit goes into quarantine in Ottawa for 2 weeks prior departure. Starting tomorrow, she will be in Ottawa for 2 weeks, and they will deliver her food straight at her door, at her hotel room, and she will be locked in, basically.
Right. Yeah. And then there's a public health nurse that would check in, I think, at like day 2, day 5, day 7. There's like a schedule that they check in. If you show any symptoms at all, they'll come and provide you a swab, and they'll test you for COVID. Yeah, so, they've been very proactive, because you think about it, if you get COVID in the north with the limited resources, I mean, it would go through the northern communities. And I mean, you have tiny communities in the north with, like 1 or 2 nurse stations. There's no emergency room. They need to medevac patients out of these tiny communities into the larger centers.
Yeah.
So they're really trying to, protect those small communities from COVID.
I can't speak for Yellowknife, but for Iqaluit, from what I understood, the hospital has 40 beds, and 6 of them are ICU.
Yeah, right. And they may only have maybe 3 ventilators for those 6 beds.
Yeah,
right.
But that's it.
Yeah, it's really important to really control who the hell goes in and out of the territory. Then.
Yeah. And I feel it's like that across like the Yukon, the territories, and Inuvik, or sorry, Nunavut. Sorry.
I think that First Air as a special kit specifically for Iqaluit and maybe Yellowknife to evacuate, let's say, up to I think it was up to 24 people in stretchers. But if they need to evacuate more, it's going to be the Canadian forces at the end. Trenton as one of the Polaris equipped to do a medevacs, and they were planning to use it if need be.
Now, Dave, you said that there were 4 centers up there.
Yep.
Are you talking about all 3 territories or just in the Northwest Territories?
No, just in the Northwest Territories.
So, okay, so there's Yellowknife.
Yeah, so you'd have Yellowknife, Hay River. I think it's in
Oh.
Nuvik, and it may have been Fort Smith. I think were the 4 major
Okay.
centers that were able to.
Is Resolute it's part of Northwest Territories or Nunavut?
Fort Resolute would be in the territories.
Okay.
Mark, Dave said that the barge float was on the Yukon. I'm just letting him know because I think he
on the
might be
Yukon or
looking for that.
Mackenzie?
The barge float vid that Dave
Yeah.
was talking about 10 years ago. I think he
Yeah.
said it was on the Yukon.
Oh, I was looking for on the Mackenzie.
Oh no, it was on the Yukon River.
Now it makes sense. But I didn't find it.
You just gotta listen, Simo. You just gotta listen.
Hey, I'm the Frenchman.
Even in French, you just have to listen sometimes.
I'm a man.
So listening is not really part of your makeup then. Try to use the word raft instead of barge, Tenenbaum is saying. Black Dog is not scared of the COVID, but he hasn't gone to tight confined areas. What I've noticed, I have a friend, Chuck, who lives at Goknawage. And he is not afraid of COVID either. He's, in fact, sometimes his
He's not
his
afraid
face,
of anything.
well, yeah, he's Mohawk. He's not afraid of a damn thing. But sometimes his posts about COVID are like kind of, you guys are really buying into this and everything. And I finally had to say, look, if I lived in an area with the population density of Goknawage, I wouldn't be afraid of it either. You spend all your time outside and there are like, what, 10 people, but I live in a city that has been completely racked by this thing, and in a province that has been completely racked by this thing. And that's partly because people are stupid and partly because the government is stupid. But the fact is, if you live in the kind of population density of my neighborhood, right? NDG is the biggest borough in Montreal by population and by space. Then you do have to worry about things like that, because even walking down the streets, in order to keep the 2 mètres, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, fudge. That even to keep the 2 meters outside, they had to remove all the parking lanes and put posts all the way down and say that a sidewalk is this way, a street is the. You know what I'm doing here, right, guys? So living where I live, where everybody knows at least someone who's had this thing, yeah, you get scared of it. But if you live in an area where it kind of hasn't really hit that hard, you can sort of be like, yeah, you guys with your masks, or, whatever. And I'm not saying that that's what you're doing, Black Dog, but I mean, a lot of people on the Book of Faces are kind of cavalier about this. And what I've noticed is that it's very geography dependent. Because if you're in an area, in a Canadian city, okay, because there's a whole bunch of different forces at work in the States. But if you're in a Canadian city that is being beaten to hell by this thing, you take it really, really seriously. And if you're in a place that has kind of been let off free, either through very intelligent things like up in the territories or blind luck, I don't know. British Columbia seems to have done everything right, but they've still got some cases. But, where COVID is not kicking the crap out of your local populace, you can afford to be a little more cavalier about it. That unfortunately is not the case in the city where I live. So I take it very seriously.
That's funny because I was speaking with Mark a bit earlier today, which is on the live stream chat. And one thing that people that doesn't seem to understand in the rest of Canada is that every single province has the same issues with their health system. We're missing staff, and it costs a lot of money, and government doesn't want to get staff because it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
So either because they are employee or they are contractors, they are being switched from one side to another.
Yeah.
in Canada, if in let's say in the rest of Canada where they're doing the exact same thing as Quebec, they have mitigated problem because there were just no transmission between staff and their family and in their workplace. Well, we got lucky in Quebec because it did happen. So our staff were switching place from one place to another to fill the holes, to give services, but they were also getting the that COVID thing and spreading it around, not only in their workplace but also with their families and communities. So there's a factor there which is purely luck or the randomness of it that hit us more than other provinces.
Yeah.
But I suspect that the next one will hit a lot harder.
The next wave.
Governments elsewhere in other provinces aren't doing the thing that they should do. Yeah. There's only one province that did it right, and it's British Columbia.
Yeah, they sure did.
That's it. Forget about the rest. They didn't have any problems, so they won't change the receipt.
It takes a lot to get a government to change the recipe, that's for sure. Alain says, I'm not too scared to get COVID for me, even though I've been hospitalized for breathing problems in the past. I'm more worried to get it and give it to my 75-year-old mom. Yeah, my mom's the same age as yours. Miss you. Nice one, Jess. My mom is that age too, give or take.
Yep.
So yeah, we're being careful.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Either of you guys want to get any last words in?
The camp was awesome last week, so that's fine.
You what last week?
The camp was awesome last week.
Yeah, those are nice pictures. It reminds me a little bit of where we went on the Bruce Peninsula, because we rented a big cabin as well last year. And there are some real look. I like to camp in a tent or maybe a hammock. Okay. But there's a lot of benefit to having that cabin when all you want to do is get up, throw back a cup of tea and teach your daughter about the canoe for the first time. Right. And that's what we did. We got up, had something to eat. Hey, canoe. Hey, canoe. Hey, canoe. You want to try a Camille? Hey, Camille, you want to try a canoe? Yeah, of course I do. Right.
Go for it.
Boom. Done. I don't want that to be my country life every time I have the vacation or whatever, but it was very good to have a home base that you don't have to put up and take down every night kind of thing.
The convenience is there.
Yeah.
Why not using it?
Yeah. Black Dog, I don't have a zebra pot. I would like to try one. I have a Morris pot. I've noticed that the 4-dog stove, whatever that company is, isn't making Morris pots anymore, but it looks like Dave Canterbury's company, whatever the hell it's Pathfinder School or
the
Reliance whatever it is. It looks to me like they're making Morris pots now. But yeah, I'd like to try a zebra pot at some point.
Yeah, I got a cheap version for these days that I haven't used, but yeah, I'm eager to test it out.
Ethan, you show up 2 minutes to the end? What the hell, Holmes? What you doing showing up 2 minutes to the end? Dave, have you seen any of Ethan's videos? Do you know him at all?
No, I haven't. What's his channel name?
Avid Outdoorsy guy. He's done a lot of canoeing in Algonquin and stuff. He's been on, I think, 1 or 2 or something of Joe Robinette's videos. Yeah. He's a buddy of his. Great guy.
I believe that Ethan is doing more outdoor stuff in Canada than in the US, where he's from.
I know he's doing more outdoorsy stuff in Canada than I am right now. But anyways, yeah. I want to see some of you guys in person. Well, Simon I've seen in person, but I mean, I thought that this year I was going to, do a couple of road trips and see a couple of guys in person. I had a very specific plan to head to Ontario and do a long weekend with Pine Martin paddling and stuff. But
Yeah, I think that you can forget about it for this year. You can
Yeah.
probably forget about it for
for
next year,
yeah,
and maybe the year after, and hopefully not the in 2023. Yeah,
I'm just gonna see what's coming. I'm gonna hope for the best. I'm gonna see what's coming. You know,
as long as they are not teeny particles that go straight in your lungs, you should be fine.
yeah. Okay. All right. Oh, we're at 11 o'clock. All right. So thanks, Simon, for hanging out with me. Thanks, Dave, for coming on. It's always good when you come on. I like hearing about the North. So if you pop up, I'm going to invite him on.
No worries. Thank you for having me on. It was great.
And all you guys in the side chat, thanks for hanging out. Thanks to those of you who've hit the thumbs up. YouTube apparently notices that and likes it. And for being so lively. There's been some really good chat in the side chat tonight. So thanks for hanging out with me on this
Thanks
rainy Tuesday night.
for being here, guys.
Yep. And thank you, Hydro Quebec, for not failing me during the thunderstorm. So, all right, everybody, stay healthy, stay sane, and enjoy your week. See you next week, guys.
I'll
Bye-bye.
still see LT, but not sane.